let me bring to the Nikon stage Marta Ponsko.
Thank you very much for this
Just to bend over to say hello, because I know I'm just kind of
amazing
short.
introduction. Hello, everyone. How are you doing today? Great so far? There is a lot of things happening here right now. So I'm particularly happy that you chose to be here with me and learn a little bit from me. I will be talking about posing. I will be talking about working with women and how to make them feel and look great in front of your cameras. But before that, because I see some familiar faces, but let me ask one question. Is there anyone here who does not know me yet? Yeah. Okay, so let me introduce myself briefly before we go into the main topic, okay? Here's the code to my Instagram account. Those who know me and follow me on Instagram know that I am very active on social media and I really enjoy being there, present there. I post a lot of tips and tricks for photographers because apart from doing sessions and working in my own studio, I teach photographers. I teach them lighting, I teach them posing, and I teach them how to run successful business in portrait and maternity photography. So here's the link. And let me show you a little bit of behind the scenes. That shows a little bit of behind the scenes of how I work in my studio. I actually came here from Warsaw, Poland, so quite far away from here. My studio is not very big, it's only 700 square feet, but it's packed with a lot of equipment because I'm a photography equipment freak. But the size of my studio is just proof that the size of the studio does not matter, but the equipment that helps you to overcome obstacles connected with the space is very important. I work with Nikon, obviously. I work with Nikon Z8 and I work with zoom lens, which is 24 to 70 millimeters, 2.8, because I work in different studios around the world, travel for workshops. I never know how much space I would need and I would have to work. That's why I prefer to work with zoom instead of working with primes. You can see that apart from working with girls that are ordinary girls, there are no professional models. Everyone that you can see on my Instagram account, these are girls that have never had experiences in photo shoots before. Some of them come with the same concerns and stresses connected with posing, not being in front of the camera. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with ordinary people, ordinary girls and ordinary men as well, doing the posing stuff. So what you can see actually from the video is that my style is defined. I like to work with colors, I like to work with a lot of equipment, I like creative lighting, and I like flattering posing. And posing is something that I define as signature part of my own style. I pose my models in specific ways. It doesn't mean that my posing is perfect and it's for everyone. It's perfect for me and for my style. I also like to create everything in camera to avoid a lot of retouching. That's my principles. And if I could summarize it into how my style looks like, or how I call it a neon maternity and portrait photography. It's all because of the use of those bold, vivid colors in the portraits that I create for my models. But today I'm here to talk a little bit about posing. And I strongly believe that posing is the skill that every single photographer should have. I cannot imagine a situation when a customer comes to a studio, photographer takes their fancy camera, takes the fancy lights out, and does this. Can you please do something with your legs, with your hands? Why I cannot imagine that? Mostly because customers who are booking you, who are deciding to work with you, usually have two concerns. I come up with the same sentences all over again. Do you know what the first one is? I'm fat / I'm old, right? And the second, the moment they step on the backdrop, I don't know how to pose. I don't know what to do with my body. Can you guide me? So if a photographer does not know how to guide the model, they're actually destroying the whole photo shoot experience, right? And the experience is the most important part of the photo shoot because you can create the most beautiful portrait with the fancy lighting, with amazing styling, with amazing look. But every time a model, your customer looks at this image and reminds how stressful, uncomfortable they felt in front of your camera, that will make them hide this picture deep in the closet and never take it out again, right? Lost money. So you are there to fight for this fabulous experience. And this experience starts with the moment when you overcome a specific vision, a picture that every single customer has in their mind when they come to the studio and when they stand in front of the camera. Do you know how this picture looks like? It's this. Okay? Everyone has the same perception. I look awkward, I look like a monkey, I feel like a monkey, right? So our role is to overcome that, is to fight that weird vision that everyone has and turn it into something more positive. Make the model believe that no matter how they look like professional models. They look stunning, they look empowered, they look gorgeous. They feel beautiful and look beautiful. While sometimes, actually, it's far from the truth. But we want them to believe that they look amazing. We want them to feel that, even though they don't see themselves. So even though sometimes they don't even see the pictures on the back of your camera or when you are tethering. They don't see the pictures, but they believe that they look amazing. All right? So how do we do that? How do we make them feel like that? Mostly by showing them what they need to do. By showing them, we need to also look amazing and great. And how to make yourself, a photographer, also overcome the same lack of self-confidence and the same stresses as your model have connected with posing. How to do that? By practicing every single day in front of the mirror, looking at yourself and seeing, does it look good or should it be like this? Should I change maybe the angle? How to pose my hands to look great in front of my model, right? This is the most important thing. How you can also become a better poser as a photographer. You can go yourself, put yourself in front of the camera as well. I do a lot of self-portraits, and I tell you, this is the most empowering experience that I had that made me better poser with my models, because I learned how my body works, I learned what I'm capable of, and I learned how to look amazing in front of the camera. If you do not have technical capabilities to do it by yourself, book a photo shoot for yourself. Be a role model for your customer, okay? And learn from the other photographer their posing flow. Understand how they play with their customers. That is also a very nice learning experience. Apart from that, take inspiration. You can take inspiration by saving tons of reels on Instagram. Who saves reels, posing reels on Instagram? All of you, right? Okay, so let me ask one question. How many of you are getting back to those reels and watching them all over again? Okay, half of you, all right? The rest completely forgot about it, right? So remember that like getting back to this knowledge is very important, like learning and repeating it all over again and getting inspiration. I take inspiration from numerous different areas, not only from reels of other photographers. I take inspiration from art, okay? Sculptures, amazing contrapposto poses. Do you know what contrapposto is? It's this way of posing the body when the weight is put on one leg, the other leg is put on to the front with knee not sticking toward the camera, and when the shoulders are bent in the opposite direction, so you've got a nice accentuation of waist on one side. And you can see this way of posing on all the ancient sculptures. Where you can get inspiration from? From painters and paintings. You've got so many beautiful poses there as well, right? So whenever you go and visit in a country, remember to go to art museum as well. The third one is modern culture. Everyone knows poses done by this lady, right? So taking inspiration from that is also something that can enrich your photography. And the last one, do you know where this picture comes from? It's from an event that happened a few weeks back, and it's Oscars, yes. When you analyze the poses done on red carpet, you can see what are the trends, okay? So hips pushed to the front, one leg to the front, bend knee, and then we are playing with the hands. Slightly on the side, either on the lap, on the hips, to the back, and to the front. And this is how every single actress posed on the red carpet. Isn't it great to see this inspiration here, right? It's easy. All right, but we are talking about this posing thing all over again, but I truly believe that posing by itself will not make a picture great. And let me show you a proof to that, because I believe that there are a few components that will affect how your model looks on the image. First one is styling. So the decision of the decision about the props that you are using, outfits, backdrops, accessories, jewelry, anything that you put on your model or around the model, right? Styling. Then the second component is actually posing, when you try how to make the outfit and model look great by changing the position of the body. And the third one, who can guess what's the third one? It's lighting and composition. And can you see the difference between the middle picture and the last one? What's the key thing that you notice? Doesn't she look slimmer? Longer? And her belly has a nicer shape? And her waistline here a little bit narrower, right? It's all achieved with proper lighting. So if you just practice one of those, but do not pay attention to the others, it's very difficult to get a beautiful picture done, okay? All right, so now we are going to move into more practice connected with posing, and I will show you some tips and tricks that I do in my studio while I'm working with those ordinary girls. Oh, do we have a chair? Yes, yes, please. I would definitely prefer the nicer one, but this is all we have. All right, so I told you before that I think that posing is something that makes your style unique. So my posing will not fit romantic styling. My posing will not fit fine art photography, all right? My posing will not fit those Vogue fashion photography. My posing is about empowering women, making them look strong, making them look empowered, self-confident. And it's all about how their body looks like. I will show you a few things, starting from the bottom of the body. I always pose my model starting from the feet, going up to the head and eyes. So what do we do with the feet, with the legs? I asked today to have this high chair because this is one of my favorite props in the studio. It's so versatile. You can do with it so many different poses, starting from this pose, then going to the front, like this, then playing a little bit like this, right? Or like this. You see so many variations with just one chair. So let's start with the basic one. When you put your model on the chair, what you want to avoid is this awkward position. Do you know the rule? What's closer to the camera becomes Bigger, yes. So we don't want the knees, the feet to be bigger, right, than the rest of the body. I want the face to be the most important part on the image. That's why I'm always pushing and asking the model to put the face to the front. So the turtleneck, push it a little bit closer. Oh, you're doing it, mirroring it. For those of you who are sitting, feel free to mirror my moves, okay? All right, so the first thing that we do is we are changing the angle of the prop. We are changing the angle of the chair. And then we don't sit like that. Why? Because what we get here is the flat, big lap. And we want the legs to look nicer. So we ask the model to sit on the edge. And then we will play with the angles of the legs, right? Either we will move this one higher. What will happen here? This part of the hip will be a little bit bigger. If you want to make it smaller, you push this knee up, right? The second thing is playing with feet. You want the feet to look nice and elongated, so you put them on toes, okay? Once we have legs positioned, the same rules we can apply to the pose like this, and the same rule we can apply to the pose like this. You see what I'm doing with my calves? They are parallel, touching each other, making the legs look also slimmer and nicer, and then I'm asking the model to bend, lean forward, and be closer to the camera, right? All right, so legs. Here, the next point are hips. When you push the hip to the back, you accentuate the waistline, creating that nice curve here, and also forcing the chest to open. And when you open the chest, the pose looks strong. Then you move the shoulder to the side. You see the difference? This and this. Yeah. You give the space here. So if you do not get the proper curve in the waistline, you give yourself space to do it in post-production, right? So, and then we are playing with the hands. Now, doing this trick with hips, either by sitting on the chair, on when we are standing, and then pushing the hip either one way or the other. You see how my pose changes? And by forcing it to the back, we are also forcing the upper part to rise a little bit, right? I tend to say that whenever my models come to my studio, their spine looks like that. But when they leave, they usually look like that. A little bit different, right? So they are moving back like this. Yeah, so once we have this hip thing already arranged, the next part is shoulders. So we are playing with the shoulders, moving it either one direction or the other direction. I like when the chest is open and a little bit toward the camera, because then I can play with hands and put them on the chair or put them on the waistline and have the triangles here that make the posture a little bit lighter. The next part are our hands and arms. And when I teach other photographers, I learned that we feel uncomfortable with posing arms, especially for maternity photographers. How many maternity photographers we have here? Quite a few. So whenever I work with maternity photographers, they have their own posing flow, and this posing flow is this, 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 and this, and that's it. Right? Am I correct? Yeah, so we are afraid of moving the arms away from the body or above the head, while arms and hands in particular are very important on the picture because they indicate where the viewer should look. So if we put it here, we put accent on on the face. When we put them here, we put accent on the hips. And when we put them here, that's a little bit tricky, right? But hands are very important. Now, this is my famous signature trick that I show quite often. This is called middle finger trick. Do you know it? Raise your hand if you ever saw it. Middle finger trick. For those of you who struggle with posing hands, it's a game changer. So, what I ask my models to do, the first thing is whenever I show them this, they're like a little bit confused at the very beginning, and then they're laughing. So you already have them in good mood. The second thing is I ask them to touch the body with just middle finger, like this. I see your face. Do it. And then raise the other finger slightly up. Do you see what happens with the hand? How gently. Yes, I love it. Oh, yes. Show it. Yeah, and this. And here. Right? Isn't it easy? That's fabulous trick that always works. Now, let me give you one bonus trick for models that usually have very thin skin and they have veins coming up pretty quickly. I hate retouching them, although Evoto has a new feature for that. But it's very tricky to retouch it, especially if the light comes from the side and creates shadows on hands. So if you want to avoid that, there's one thing that you can do. You know it already. You saw it on my... Yes. So let's do this exercise together. Raise your arms high, like kids in the kindergarten, and turn the light bulbs. Woohoo! Awesome. And now look at your hands. Did the veins disappear? They do. They are flat. Just remember to raise hands higher, not here, because we want the blood to go down, okay? Not here. If you stay like this, if you do this, the blood will come back quickly. So do the light bulb trick, and I can tell you that makes a huge difference regarding hands. So middle finger trick, light bulbs, and then you are playing with hands. I always do a small posing flow with my models. I never stick to one pose during one setup. So I take my camera, set the light, check the composition, check how it looks on the camera, and then I start posing my model. And I start with some basic poses like legs, knees, hips, shoulders, hands. And then we are doing hips, higher, chest, and one hand. How many pictures do you have? Done within 30 seconds? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? And then let's add face. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got even more, right? So you can make your gallery much more richer than just having 1 or 2 pictures. The next point that I want to talk about a little bit is connected with face expressions. And I know that some of you might probably struggle with it because face expression can destroy the whole vibe of the image, especially when the model has stiff jawline that shows stress. When they put the lips together, it's just because they feel uncomfortable in front of the camera, or they do the eyes. And if you add wrinkled forehead to that, that's a disaster. So let me give you some tips and tricks regarding that. First of all, ask your model to breathe in and out through the mouth. That relaxes that part. Yeah, I love it. To repeat it. That relaxes the jawline. If you want to have that really nice feminine gap between the lips, you can ask them to say apple apple. And stay at apple. Can you repeat? Apple. Works? Yes. And then if you want to avoid that awkward eyes, ask them to close their eyes for a couple of seconds. Close your eyes. That relaxes the whole face. Open your eyes on 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Pick. And now you've got the shot. That's a very nice thing to do whenever you work with the model. Now, I want to also indicate that how the face looks like and whether your models smile or not smile, it's your personal choice. My choice is to have them serious, to have their powerful but serious look. I don't like my models smiling. I think that smiles are perfect for family shots, for lifestyle photography, but when you want that strong feminine look, the eyes and lips cannot smile. And let me give you a proof to that. I'm sure you know those images. Am I right? You know those. Famous photographer took all of those. And when you look at them, lighting, styling, and the look of the models, it's like everything fits, right? Everything works perfect together. Now imagine if we ask the models to smile. Do you know what will happen? This. Do those images look the same? No, not anymore. So let me also ask you a question. When you look at the photographs of Zara or any high-end brands, have you ever seen smiles on those images? Probably not. But when you look at the pictures of discount stores, it's all... So I've got this impression that smiles are for cheap photos. You can agree or not, but I think that smiles are for cheap photos, especially when it comes to that styling, right? So serious face, serious look. This is how we see ourselves most of the time. We don't see ourselves smiling all the time, right? So that's how it looks. Now, before the final part, during which I would like you to take part in posing with me a little bit. Would you like to pose a little bit? Yeah, okay. Let me just say a few words. Since I'm teaching, I have some workshops upcoming. I'm having a workshop in San Diego in a couple of days. If you want to take part in it, I've got here business cards available with the promo code for both this workshop and my online academy. I have an online academy, like 8 weeks educational program during which you can learn not only posing but also lighting and everything that is connected with portraits, creating portraits and maternity photographs. All right? Now, let's stand up. Stand up. Let's have some exercise. You will be sitting the whole day long, either here or on the seminars. Like, make sure that you have some room around you, so you do not kick or touch other photographers. Do you have some space? Awesome. Now, let's stand. Let's imagine that I'm your mirror. Show me this hand. Great. This hand, this hand, this hand. Yes, this hand. The other hand. This leg. Yes, the other leg. Perfect. A great group. Now, let's start with this leg. Put it and put the whole weight on it. The other goes to the front. Do this move. Tick. Put it on toes and then bend the knee. Then push the hip to the side. Yeah, and then try to stand in this pose. Feel it. Okay, put your hands, remember this. Put your hands on the hips. Then push the elbows to the back, push the elbows to the front, and drop your shoulders. Okay, relax for a while, okay? Because the moment you feel unstable, you have to let it go, and start all over again. Foot, the other, bend, hip, and the hand. Easier? Quicker? Right. Okay, let's move it higher. Put it here. Fingers relaxed. Push the wrists down. Awesome. Then push it a little bit higher. And then again, wrists down. Give me your fingers here. You see what is happening with the pose? I look slimmer here. We are accentuating the waistline with our hands. Then the one hand goes here, middle finger, right? And look there. Okay, relax. And again, leg, knee, bend, hip. One hand here, touch the, yes, no, with one finger, middle finger rule. Not like this. We don't want that. This. And then put your hand on the head, relax, and turn your hand like this. Awesome. Chin higher, to the side. Beautiful. No, we don't do that. We do the other side. We are not sniffing armpit. Put it lower. And you are doing great. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here with me. If you want to learn more, here you have some more information about my educational programs. Thank you.